Section 7.6, example 7, solving a system of linear equations using matrices. Solve the system of linear equations using matrices. Okay, so I'm going to be a little bit different than the book. So what we're going to do is reduce to reduced row echelon form instead of just row echelon form. I just find it a little bit easier, but I don't know. All right, so just grabbing the coefficients or putting this system into a matrix. We have 1, -1, 1, and 8. 2, 3, -1, -2. 3, -2, -9, and 9. Step 1, get a 1 in the first column. Oh, wow, we have a 1. Step 2, turn the other 2 elements in that column to zeros. So to get a 0 here, we use our working row, row 1, to turn those into zeros. So opposite of 2 is going to be -2. So -2 times row 1 plus row 2 for the new row 2. Similarly, we're going to do the same thing to row 3. So opposite of +3 is going to be -3. So -3 times row 1, our working row, plus row 3, our manipulating row, for the new row 3. So reading what we just did, we're not manipulating row 1. So let's just copy that one right here. And let's get going. All right, so we have 2 times -2 is going to be -4. Oh, wrong one. 1 times -2 is going to be -2. 2 plus a -2 is going to be 0. And next we have -1 times -2. It's going to be +2. +2 plus 3 is going to give us 5. 1 times -2 is going to be -2. -2 plus -1 is going to be -3. 8 times -2 is going to be -16. -16 minus 2 is going to be a -18. And now for the next row. 1 times -3 is going to be -3. 3 plus -3 is going to be 0. -1 times -3 is going to be a +3. +3 plus a -2 is going to be 1. 1 times -3 is -3. Plus a -9 is going to be a -12. And lastly, 8 times -3 is going to be a -24. -24 plus 9. What is that? -15. Yeah. All right. So far what we have is a 1 and zeros where we need it. The next one that we need is going to be this one right here. So that way we could turn everything else into a 0. So we have a 1 down here. One thing that we can do is just switch these 2 entire rows. Because remember, these are just equations, right? So we could have written the first equation last. We could have written the second equation first. Possibility of, they're not endless, but they're kind of finite. But anyway, so we could mess with the rows. So what I'm going to do is just switch these 2 rows. So that way we have a 1 where we need it. And it becomes our new working row. So we're going to switch these 2. So that way we have our 1 where we need it in column 2. So row 1, we're not doing anything to, so let's just rewrite that one. we're switching row 2 and 3. So row 3, which is now row 2, 0, 1, -12, -15. And the new row 3, 0, 5, -3, -18. All right, so now this one's our working row. So working row is row 2 now, and we're going to use this one to turn this into a 0 and also this into a 0. So to turn this into a 0, opposite of -1 is +1. So row 1 times row 2, or we could just write down row 2, plus row 1 for the new row 1. And we're going to turn this one into a 0. So opposite of 5 is going to be -5. So -5 times our working row, row 2 plus our row that we're manipulating, row 3 for the new row 3. So this time we're not messing with row 2. So let's just rewrite that one. 0, 1, -12, -15. And let's start with the math part. All right, so row 2 plus row 1. So we're just adding these two. 1 plus 0 is 1, and that's for the new row 1. -1 plus 1 is 0. 1 plus a -12 is -11. And 15 plus a negative, or 8 plus a -15 is -7. And now we have some math to do for this one. So -5 times row 2. So 0 times -5 is going to be 0. 0 plus 0 is 0. Then we have 1. 1 times -5 is -5. -5 plus 5 is also 0. Next, we have -12. So -12 times -5 is going to be a positive 60. 60 minus 3 is 57. Positive 57. And -5 times row 2. So 15 times 5. That's 25, 75. So 75 minus 18, it's going to be another 57. Yep. 57. All right, so 57. Let's see where we're at now. So our goal 1 0 0 0 1 0 0 0 1 and our constants. So that's what we want. We have this one done, have this one done. So next we need a 1 where we need it. So we need this one right here. So we need a 1 there. So that way we could turn everything else into a 0. Super simple. We just multiply by 1 over 57. Actually, that would be down here for this one. 1 over 57 times row 3 for the new row 3. So 1 0 0 0 1 0, -11, -12, -7, -15. Okay, and now 57 divided by 57 is 1. 57 divided by 57 is also 1. All right. One more recap before we finish. So 1 0 0 constant, 0 1 0 constant, 0 0 1 constant. So the only thing we have left to do is to get these two zeros, or to turn these two into zeros, and we have finished. Super easy because we have this right here as a 1. Anything times 1. 1 is like a blank canvas, so you just have to multiply it by the opposite of what you're trying to, or the opposite of what you're adding to it. So opposite of -12 is going to be a +12. So 12 times our working row, which is the one where with the 1 in it, where we want to manipulate the other rows. So this one's going to be our new working row. 12 times our working row, row 3. We're adding it to row 2 because that's what we're trying to manipulate. This is going to be for the new row 2. Opposite of -11 is +11. So 11 times our working row, which is row 3, plus the row we're trying to manipulate, row 1. And this is going to be for the new row 1. Not manipulating row 3 whatsoever. It's perfect just the way it is. Just like each and every one of you. All right, so now 12 times row 3. So 0. 0 times 12 is 0. So 0 plus 0 gives us 0. Perfect. 0 times 12 is also 0. 0 plus 1 is 1. And then we have 1. 1 times 12 is 12. 12 minus 12 is 0. And same thing here. 1 times 12 is 12. 12 minus 15 is going to be a -3. All right, looks good so far. So we finished row 2. Now let's work with row 1. So 11 times row 3. So 0 times 11 is going to be 0. 1 plus 0 is 1. Then 0 again. 0 times 11 is 0. 0 plus 0 is 0. 1 times 11 is 11. 11 minus 11 is 0. And 1 times 11 is 11. 11 minus 7 is 4. There we go. That's our solution. So this column right here, our X column, or our X solution, by what I mean by X is we have X, Y, Z. Our X solution is 4. Our Y solution is -3. And our Z solution is 1. So 4, -3, and 1. That is the solution to this system of equations. A little tedious, I have to agree, but there we go. That's all the work that we needed to do in order to find a solution to the system of equations. If you have any questions whatsoever, please feel free to ask. Otherwise, bye.